All right. It says we're live, so I think we're live.
Did you get a haircut? Did you get a haircut?
I got a cut like 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago? Were you wearing a hat last week?
No.
Did I just not notice?
It was like this at the party.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I guess I wasn't thinking about it at the party.
No, see, it's like now it's like at the getting to the length that I want it to be.
Okay.
So come like the new year, it's like fresh. I think I got cut too much last time I was there. But it is what it is. But no, we're not here to talk about my haircut. All right, let's record here then.
Yeah, let's get going. Still starting earlier than usually. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Media Boat Podcast. I didn't know we were starting because there's no notes on the screen. Hi, today is December the 18th, 2021. Believe it or not, we are a week away from Christmas for those who celebrate and for all you Santas out there. So thank you for joining us. If you don't know what the Media Boat Podcast is, we are a podcast that brings you news and thoughts about movies, video games, television, and music. Not necessarily in that order. Changed up this week. My name is Matt. His name is Mike.
I'm Mike. He's Matt. And we welcome you to the penultimate podcast of the season.
Of 2021 season. As you may well know, if you're a longtime listener or a recent listener, we always do a year-end wrap-up special where we talk about the best and the biggest news stories of each of the categories we cover here. Those will be going up next week, the week after next week, the last week of December, in place of our usual schedule. And you'll be able to hear all of those back to back. So hope you guys enjoy that coming soon. But in the meantime, we have 2 last weeks of a regular ass Media Boat podcast for you, including this one.
Yep. We will be having this one, our penultimate podcast, and then our finale, season finale podcast will actually be on Wednesday, going back to a Wednesday show because Christmas is on Saturday.
Yeah, no one wants to record on Christmas morning. Come on.
Nah, we want to open presents on Christmas morning.
Exactly. Priorities, people. So, without further ado.
Which means that, the 22nd would be our last podcast of the season.
I believe so.
And I think it's the earliest we've ever done it.
I believe you're right. It's a weird year, but hey, it's been a weird year all year. So,
and you can find out how weird it was during our end of the year wrap up.
It's true, where we'll wrap it up all in a tight bow for you. But in the meantime, let's do this show. Let's pull up some notes here. And let's start as we always start, which is in the movies section. And we always start the movies with the weekend box office. And will someone explain to me what the hell happened here?
Oh, I'll tell you what happened. People are not hot on Spielberg. People are not hot on plays. And people are not hot on 60-year-old stories they've already heard before.
All of those things, plus people specifically on the East Coast and scattered around the U.S. right now are not hot on going anywhere because right now COVID is spiking again thanks to the spread of the Omicron variant. We're seeing a lot of lockdowns, return to mask mandates. A lot of things have changed, so this is likely affecting box office numbers.
Except for Spider-Man, which we'll get into next week.
We'll get into that next week, but that's different. You pre-order a certain amount of tickets, you're going to have a big number to show. But your number one this week, regardless of all of that, or I guess because of all of that, in this case, was West Side Story with a $10.5 million debut, just whimpering to number one this week.
Spielberg's lowest opening?
I believe you're right. But then again, I feel like you're going to see a giant asterisk in 2020 and 2021 numbers in the future annals of box office history. You're going to have to note COVID-19 pandemic because otherwise these numbers don't make any sense to anyone. Coming in number 2, right behind it, another $9 million. That's 71. I don't know anymore if that's going to hit 100 by the end of 2021.
I mean,
I doubt it.
It may get a big bump from Christmas.
Maybe.
But I don't think it'll hit it in 2021 calendar year.
Seeing Christmas is next week, and we are only looking at the beginning of this spread.
Right, and we're expecting 6 movies.
The competition just gets
4 or 5 movies.
That's what I'm saying.
6.
I don't think it can compete. I don't think Encanto makes that 100. No.
Okay.
I don't think it does it because in order to do it, it had to outdo a lot of these other films, and it won't do
And
it.
it's not doing the numbers we thought it would be doing.
No. So hopefully they'll make up some money when that comes is happening.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
That's going to be a streaming.
Yeah,
favorite.
that'll work for streaming really well. Coming in at number 3, Ghostbusters Afterlife with another $7 million. That did pass 100 a few weeks ago. That's at 112.
Yep.
Probably the last of its kind for the year.
No.
Well, like I said, we'll talk about that next week.
We'll talk about Spider-Man next week.
We'll see how it does. Number 4, House of Gucci with $4 million this week, adding to $41 million total. And number 5, rounding out your top 5, Eternals, $3.1 million, add to its $161 million pile. Also probably one of the last of its kind of passing that 150 mark this year.
Like I said, you keep saying this.
I really don't think. I mean, yes, pre-order numbers are one thing, but actual performance, we will wait and see for Spider-Man's numbers next week.
You keep saying this, but okay. So being around the bush here, upcoming this week is Spider-Man: No Way Home and Nightmare Alley by Guillermo del Toro. But really, it's Spider-Man, No Way Home.
In fact, you probably noticed that a lot of your Twitter followers have already seen it. Screening started Thursday night. Yeah, we're going to
I was
probably
looking
see.
at a Thursday screening for my local theater.
Yeah.
They started at 3 p.m., ran till midnight.
Jeez. Sold out?
Every 15 minutes, they started a new film.
Yeah.
All of them sold out,
Yeah.
except for that very front row. But even then, there were seats missing from the very front row.
I believe you. What I'm saying is it's a different story here in California than other places.
Okay.
That's why I don't think the numbers are going to be quite as high as you think they
will. It will be.
Do you want to do an over-under here?
I will do an over-under.
All right. Okay, so what's the number?
What do you want the number to be?
I don't know. 80K?
Over.
You think? 80 mil, I mean.
Yes, 80 million. Over.
Over?
You want to do it at 100 million? I'll go over.
Okay, let's do it at 100. I'll say under.
I'll go over.
All right. We'll see you next week. We'll catch back up because, I think that there's 2 different narratives possibly that could happen here. We'll see.
You're saying Spider-Man: No Way Home, the arguably most anticipated Spider-Man film of the year. Arguably one of the most. Yes, I know what I said. Arguably one of the most anticipated Spider-Man films of the year.
Arguably.
Yes.
Venom 2 was
it's in the Spider-Verse.
Yes. Spider-Verse.
It's in Sony's Spider-Man verse. Is not going to cross $100 million in the first weekend.
Not in the first weekend. No, not right now. With a 10.5 opening this weekend, you think that something's going to do 100 million next week? That's impossible. That doesn't make any sense.
Because it's Spider-Man, and nothing makes sense for Spider-Man.
Well, we'll check back in next week, but until then, let that be a mystery to you, the viewer at home.
Oh, no. I'm just going to spoil this for you right now here, okay? Where is it? I think it's
as he scrambles to see
the
news story here.
Oh no, I'll give it to you.
Oh my god!
Right here.
Sure. Yeah. That's not 100.
No, but it's halfway there.
I don't think it'll make it.
It's halfway there off one night. There you go.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We will see.
We'll see.
I doubt it.
Oh, we'll see.
Anyway,
we have numbers in front of us, but we'll talk about it on Wednesday, like we said.
If it does do that absurd number I just saw, then that surely has to be a record for week over week, right?
Yeah.
Like, jump.
Basically, if you're saving to go to the movies for
one movie
film
this year,
it's going to be Spider-Man.
It sounds like a 1980s trailer. if you're going to see one movie this year. Anyway, let's move on. We've talked about that too long. We'll talk about more Spider-Man next week. But in the meantime, here's a couple of news stories for you. We start with a little update about movie unions. We've been talking about IATSE throughout the year. But global unions and guilds have called for the TV and film production industry worldwide to end a, quote, long hours culture that has only worsened during the current post-COVID vaccine surge in filming. In a report titled, quote, Demanding Dignity Behind the Scenes, released on Tuesday, UNI Global Union, which represents 20 million film, TV, and arts workers worldwide, called for production wages and working hours to respect collective agreements, quote, or in their absence, national legal standards. The report and recommendations follow a survey of UNI Global Union members that found 60-hour work weeks are normal across the film and TV industry worldwide, leading to excessive hours, insufficient rest, and, quote, life-threatening levels of fatigue. Minimum standards urged for film and TV workers worldwide include adequate daily and weekly rest time, meal breaks, health care, and, quote, the opportunity to connect with family and friends denied by weekend work. The call to action from UNI-affiliated unions follows on the heels of IATSE voting to ratify a new 3-year basic agreement, which we talked about, with the studios and streaming services amid an emboldened labor movement in Hollywood and concerns over key issues such as pension and health plans, livable wages, and rest periods among the membership. This seems like a no-brainer to me. I mean, 60-hour weeks already are way too much work.
I used to do 60-hour weeks.
And
and you remember how dead I was at the end of each week.
It's just not something human beings were ever built to do. It's not things we should be expected to do. The least we can get is a weekend. I mean, unions fought for weekends. Yeah. Like, there's a reason why the weekend exists, why the 40-hour week is the standard, is because there's only so much a human can do. And when you're talking about these specific kinds of jobs in the industry, it's a lot of hard work, constant hard work. And you can't do that and have like a reliable health, mental or physical.
It's also why unions exist around the world, to fight for these kind of rights for workers.
So yeah,
to help protect them.
So the UNI Global Union is making some really good points here. I'm hoping that this gets to the studios and makes them think about these approaches. I really hope we see an end to this kind of crazy work, because this is just way too much.
It's also how big that IATSE negotiation was, not just for workers here in the United States, but globally.
Yes, the industry.
It sets a precedent.
Oh yeah, the entertainment industry is everywhere now. And like, no matter where you are, you deserve these rights just like anybody else. So yeah, this has gone past being a US issue. This has become a global issue. And I really, really hope some movement happens here, because yeah, that's way too much work. So fingers crossed that this will make an impact.
Yep.
Meanwhile, it's that time of year again. The National Film Registry, from the Library of Congress, of course, has unveiled its list of 25 movies to be added this year. The titles span from 1902 to 2008 and include award-winning films from Alfred Hitchcock, John Waters, and Peter Jackson. Films that have been selected for their cultural, historic, or aesthetic importance include Selena, Cooley High, and The Murder of Fred Hampton. Films selected for the 2021 National Film Registry in chronological order include Ringling Brothers Parade film from 1902, Jubilo from 1919, The Flying Ace from 1926, Hellbound Train from 1930, Flowers and Trees from 1932, Strangers on a Train from 1951, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane from 1962, Evergreen from 1965, Requiem 29 from 1970, The Murder of Fred Hampton from 1971, Pink Flamingos from 1972, Sounder, also in 1972, The Long Goodbye, 1973, Cooley High from 1975, Richard Pryor Live in Concert from 1979.
Sensing a trend here.
Yeah. Chicana from 1979, The Wobblies from 1979, Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, from 1983, A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, Stop Making Sense from 1984, Who Killed Vincent Chin from 1987, The Watermelon Woman from 1996, Selena from 1997, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring from 2001, and last but not least, WALL-E from 2008.
Some of these, I don't know why they weren't already in there.
Yeah, some of these you do have to wonder, but it's a good list of movies that span a long time.
Yeah, I think we had, 7 count from 1970s?
Big year for a lot of 70s films. But yeah, makes sense. I can see an argument for all of these. Is this the first Pixar in here, or is Toy Story already?
I think Toy Story's already in there.
I think Toy Story's in there. So maybe...
I want to say Shrek is already in there as well.
Well, there's no accounting for taste.
No, but there is accounting for the first film to win the animated Oscar.
I realize that Shrek is important in some ways. Yes. I just don't think it's good. There's a difference between those two things. I can hold both of those, and they do not good picks. This solid list. Yeah, happy to see some of these films make it.
Yep.
But one film that will not be making it into the film registry anytime soon. A notorious box office bomb of 2021. You watched this thing. Tell me about Ron's Gone Wrong.
I watched it because it was on Disney Plus.
Sure.
And then, as I was watching it, it made me want to go back and watch Mitchell's versus the Machines. Because that's what it is. So, this is the classic case of two different studios making the same kind of film two different ways.
Sure.
With the same essential concept of AI/robotics best friends going rogue.
Sure.
That's your log line for both of these.
Mitchell's versus Machines is a little different.
Yeah, robots going rogue.
Yeah, but
it happens.
All of them, though.
It happens.
It's not like it's a best like that, like a companion robot situation.
Well, they're built for companion.
Whatever. Anyways,
watch the film.
No, never.
Anyways, that's basically what it is.
Okay.
I mean, it does get into some high concepts of what it means to be a friend, how to be a friend. Friendship is not a one-sided thing. You need to be friends with the person you're with. It's not all about me, but it's about us and our friendship.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Sure.
It touches on these things. I kind of like what it does, and then it does the Tina Fey thing and pulls back immediately.
Oh, okay.
But without like making a full commitment
now
to its things.
Now that you've seen it, do you understand now why it did so poorly? Why isn't this resonating with people? Why do you think it missed?
Marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sent it
I
to
would
die.
say lack.
I mean,
it was kind of
a little bit of a lack. They sent it to die. Like
yeah.
the only place I saw it advertised was on Disney Channel.
Yeah.
You didn't see anything about this movie anywhere else.
I mean, Ed Helms and Zach Galifianakis are your two main voices.
In 2021, though, those guys don't sell tickets.
No. So you have to sell it on the concept.
Yeah, and didn't.
And when Mitchell's vs. Machines came out, then you're like, wait, this is too similar. Maybe we need to pull back here. And then you just send it out. I think it was released in like August or September, like the doldrums of autumn, where
no one was seeing
films.
I mean, yeah, all of those reasons and more.
Good concepts. There's good stuff within it. I just don't think they stitch it well together. Especially when you, at one point you have your main character literally go live in the woods. And it addresses the old adage of, if your friend jumped off a cliff, would you? And that's literally what it does. It puts that in film.
Okay.
It's like,
weird choice.
Weird choice there. It's a weird choice.
It's a weird movie.
There's good stuff within it. I can see where they were trying to hit some themes and some central things, but I think over rewriting and redrafting kind of muddied its original concept.
Sure.
Which would have been, what does it mean to be a friend?
So so it sounds like between the two movies, Mitchell's versus the Machines is the one you should watch. Is there anything like, is this a decent movie to put on for your kids, just as a distraction for an hour and a half?
No, I think if you're gonna get more like understanding the concepts, it's more for like teenagers.
Huh. Okay.
Than like what I'm thinking of as kids.
Sure.
But it seems fine. I don't know. I'm not
damning it with faint praise. I see.
There's a lot of good stuff within it, and there's some like scenes.
Yeah. Sounds like Sounds like a meh.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the marketing kind of bombed this thing already, so I wasn't going too hot into it to start with. And then the film just itself didn't quite stoke any fire of passion within me. That's a weird thing to say about an animated film.
Sure, but hey, you know what?
But hey, if we can like cry at Coco and it's okay. That's an unfair comparison for
That is an unfair comparison.
That's an unfair comparison for most movies.
So it is. It exists. It's fine, but it sounds like the Mitchells vs. the Machines does similar stuff and way better.
Mitchell vs. Machines is more about family, and that is a stronger through line than Wrong's Gone Wrong.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. I didn't watch any new movies. I watched a couple old movies.
Right. You said you were catching up in preparation for The Matrix Resurrections.
Yeah.
So real briefly, after it comes out on Wednesday, it will be the final film on HBO Max's 1-year deal. Yes. We've been talking about this for 1 year since back in Wonder Woman 1984.
I believe it. So get ready.
I will probably have seen this by the time we podcast. Most likely.
Next time. Yeah.
Maybe. So I will have thoughts on both Spider-Man and The Matrix next week.
Yeah, I've been trying to catch up with the trilogy. I had seen The Matrix, the first one, but I had never seen the sequels. So last night strapped in, got all the way through Matrix Reloaded, Revelations? Yeah, it's the third one.
Yes.
Revelations will be sometime this week, and they'll hopefully be ready for Resurrections next Wednesday.
If the names didn't already imply, get ready for a lot of Christ imagery.
Yeah, I mean, you're already getting that. I'm already there. It's too late for that. That ship is already on the ocean. We will report back with more information about that. But for now, let's move on to television. We always start television with the Sports Corner. ... And this week, football, or
lack of football? Maybe football?
Well, it's weird. There's both more football than ever, but also the possibility of no football.
Yes.
Because COVID has spread throughout the league. Players are not able to play. But also, so many games got postponed because of COVID that we're now having to play a bunch of games in a row. NFL has moved games, including the Raiders versus the Browns to Monday, Washington versus Philadelphia, and Seahawks and Rams to Tuesday night.
That's right. Tuesday Night Football is back, baby.
So get ready for an entire week full of football.
Lest we forget, that Raiders versus Browns game was supposed to be a Saturday game.
Oh.
So instead, we get Saturday game Colts versus Patriots.
Oh.
Our regular... All right, so let's rewind back here. We have Thursday Night Football. Technically, the last Thursday Night Football broadcasted by Fox.
Okay.
As next year, it will go to Amazon Prime streaming only. I'm not sure. Don't quote me if there's have to deal with NFL TV to stream it there.
I would assume that would still exist. Yeah.
Because that's broadcasting rights.
Right.
But it goes to Amazon TV or Amazon Prime. Next season for Thursday Night Football.
Not next season. Yeah, well,
next season. Yeah. Because there's no more official Thursday Night Football games. So we have Thursday Night Football, no football Friday. We get Saturday football with Colts versus Patriots. Our regular Sunday football. Monday Night Football doubleheader now with Raiders and Browns and Bears and Vikings. And then we get Tuesday Night Football as well with Washington and Philadelphia and Seahawks and Rams. Now, the reason this is a big story, though, is because of what was signed by the NFLPA and the NFL prior to the season beginning.
Yes.
Meaning, if your team is unable to put enough players on the field, you automatically forfeit the game.
Right.
But here we are on the cusp of postseason and teams vying for spots that they're just, hey, we're going to push the games back. And NFL players are going, that was not the rules we agreed upon.
No.
You can't change the rules mid-game, mid-season to help or hurt or benefit certain teams.
Yeah, it looks bad.
Yes. Because this question was posed to me because I'm a Rams fan. And the Rams got moved to Tuesday Night Football. Like, well, aren't you happy? Now they can, play games. Like, yeah, it's good for the Rams, but it's a bad precedent.
Yeah.
Like, if this was reversed and it was the Seahawks, wouldn't you be more pissed?
Yeah.
Because, now they get a chance to, heal and recover and play against us and hopefully do better instead of just giving the automatic forfeit like it was scheduled to be.
Right.
Also, and then there's fantasy football implications, which is
the
2 or 3 tiers down there, but
right,
depending on who you ask, high on their list.
Regardless, if you're a football fan, I guess keep an eye out on what happens going forward this week. But in the meantime, other sports are happening.
Nope. This is still football.
Yeah, I was going to say. But before that, we need to talk about one last football story. One of the bigger headlines this week that wasn't COVID related. Urban Meyer fired from Jacksonville and will not finish the season.
Thank you for your service for 13 games. You will most likely go back to college now.
Guess so.
Despite the Jacksonville Jaguars having a 2-11 record through 14 weeks, that was not the reason he was fired, though.
Right.
Because stories came out about him not having control of the locker room, about him disrespecting players, even so much as to a story coming out from Josh Lambo, the kicker, of Urban Meyer's kicking Josh Lambo in the leg and saying, "Make your damn kicks." You know, kicking your kicker
in the leg, where he uses to score points for your football games.
Yep.
Yeah. Seems counterintuitive.
Oh, very much so.
I don't know. I'm not Urban Meyer.
Anyway, apparently that story was enough for them to say, "Urban Meyer, get out. You're done.
Get the boot."
Also, because of this, they're saying that there is enough consequence here that he is officially broken his contract and may not be paid the rest of his salary.
Wow. Well, hey, you make a lot of choices in your life, and this time the choices have come back to bite him.
But like I said, most likely he's going to go back to college somewhere. And speaking of college,
bowl games for the NCAA have begun. It's bowl season, everybody. Get out your bowls.
Yeah, it is. We have a lot of fun.
Fun bowls are the best bowls.
Well, yeah. I mean, we have the Cricket Celebration Bowl. Ooh, how about the PUBG Mobile New Mexico Bowl?
Oh, wow.
The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl presented by Stifle.
Wow, these just keep getting better. Wow, that's incredible. What did Jimmy Kimmel do to get his name on a bowl game?
I don't know.
Is he just there? Is he going to be there?
Paid the money for it? I don't know. Yeah, we also have, of course, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
Yes. Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. These seem made up. How are all these real?
The Easy Post Hawaii Bowl.
Oh my God. The Surf Pro First Responder Bowl.
The San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl.
The Cheez-It Bowl, which is my favorite. I love having a bowl.
Yep. Guaranteed Rate Bowl.
Oh, the New Era Pinstripe Bowl.
Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Oh, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. The Tax Slayer Gator Bowl.
Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
Oh no, not the Tiger Sun Bowl. All right.
This, of course, will be leading to the college football playoffs played on New Year's Day. The Goodyear Cotton Bowl and the Capital One Orange Bowl.
And then, of course, everyone's favorite, the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. And the All-State Sugar Bowl, and of course the Rose Bowl, which is just the Rose Bowl game presented by Capital One Venture X.
Right, because no one is allowed to put their name in front of the Rose Bowl because it's sponsored by the city of Pasadena.
Right.
But that's why it's presented by.
So yeah, I wish we could just talk about names of bowl games all day, but we can't. We gotta move on. Other sports are continuing to happen as well, but yes, get ready for bowls. In the meantime, Steph Curry has broken an NBA career three-point record, passing Hall of Famer Ray Allen.
In record time, but that's only because Steph Curry only shoots three-pointers. So it's not like he was bound to break it eventually.
He's going to do it.
It was like,
because it's his thing.
It's his thing. He just pops back and shoots three-pointers.
Hey, you know what? That's a lot of points, so I get it.
Yeah.
Why not? Meanwhile, in hockey, the NHL's Avalanche, Panthers, and Flames have all postponed their games until after Christmas. So if you're a fan of those teams, you have to wait because COVID got a handle out of them.
Yep.
So, just wait for those, but it'll be back after the new year.
But hey, we talked about football. We talked about hockey.
Yeah.
And why not, for good measure, talk about the NBA?
Well, yeah, we've mentioned Steph Curry, but also in the NBA, Chicago Bulls also postponed 3 games since December 11th.
When they had an outbreak.
So, yeah. COVID, it's back. Depending on where you are, levels of severity go up and down. Check your local listings. Check your local stats to see if you are good. You probably noticed that mask mandates are returning in a lot of places. So stay safe, get your booster, do what you need to do. But yes, this is affecting everyone, including the sports that you watch. So hunker down, be safe.
COVID, Omicron is around, and that just means COVID pie is right around the corner.
Oh no, Darren Aronofsky's COVID pie? All right, anyway, let's move on to television news. This one's breaking this morning. Yes. I saw it bright and early on Twitter, pasted it into this document for you, because I was like, I guess we got to talk about this. YouTube television, YouTube TV, which we talk about a lot on this podcast. I used to be a customer of theirs.
Yep, typically we talk about the prices going up on an annual basis, but today we're talking about it going down.
Yeah, but there's a caveat to that. There's a reason why they're doing it, and it's not good.
So you're getting a 15. If you subscribe to YouTube TV, you're going to get a $15 discount.
But here's why. Because you're going to lose a lot of content. Disney-owned channels, specifically, including ABC. Yes, even your local affiliates for ABC have been removed from YouTube TV as their deal with Google lapsed on Friday at midnight. It's the first major blackout for YouTube TV in nearly 5 years, not including the regional sports channels that were dropped by Sinclair last year. Google said it would reduce YouTube TV's monthly price by $15 in response, from $64.99 back to their original price of $49.99. Yes, that was what it was originally priced at, just to remind everybody. Now that Disney's networks have gone dark. Google said, quote, "We know this is frustrating news for our customers and not what we wanted. We will continue conversations with Disney to advocate on your behalf in hopes of restoring their content to YouTube TV. Current YouTube TV members will see the $15 credit applied to their next bill after December 17th. Meanwhile, Disney is pointing the finger of blame at Google, saying, quote, "We've been in ongoing negotiations with Google's YouTube TV, and unfortunately, they have declined to reach a fair deal with us based on market terms and conditions." The dispute has revolved around money, as it always does. Google's claimed that Disney was demanding higher fees for its TV networks than, quote, services of a similar size pay. So Disney was going in basically trying to negotiate, we're worth a higher number than you're giving us. Look at what our deal with the cable companies is.
Not just that, we know people are going to watch our stuff on your network.
We got numbers to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
And Google's like, no, we're only charging NBC's networks this amount.
Right, for the same number of channels. We don't care about viewership. We just care about channel numbers.
And unfortunately, when big idiots fight like this, it's the customer who loses out, because now you don't get ESPN, you don't get ABC, you don't get Disney Channel,
you don't get National Geographic.
There's a lot of stuff being lost here that you just lose as a YouTube TV customer. Is it worth that $15 difference? I don't even think it's worth $50 without those networks, honestly, because those are the lifeblood. I mean, if I was sure that I would have all my local networks and then all of a sudden one of them was just gone, I would be pissed.
Oh,
I would move.
So this isn't in the story, but here's how pissed people will be. This upcoming week is the Bachelorette season finale.
Maybe that's why this happened, was because they were like, Disney was like, if we do it now, your customers are going to be angry at you. And we're going to do it now to prove a point that we can. So Google's going to have to go back and renegotiate as fast as possible to get those networks back, or not, or just let this ride through the end of the year and just deal with the angry people.
Not only that, but ABC and ESPN both host NBA Christmas Day long specials.
Yeah.
And if you're on YouTube TV and only on YouTube TV, you won't get access to any of those games.
Just a note, a related story to this. This is not big enough to actually report here, but DirecTV Stream, formerly known as AT&T Stream, the thing that I subscribe to now, all of their tiers went up by $5 as well, starting in December. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for a equivalent to this for the same $65 price, that is roughly what you can get the lowest tier of a DirecTV stream for, and that will have your Disney channels. So just a tip for you. If you like DirecTV stream, it's a pretty solid service. It's more cable-y than YouTube TV is, but it won't really make a difference to you, the end user. So yeah, there are options. Look at your options, but man, I really do hope that Google goes back to the table with Disney, because it sucks for a lot of people.
So it's Google. They have the money.
It's Google.
It's not like they don't have the money to pay for it.
Fortunately, you're right.
It's a price negotiation where if they pay Disney this much now, it means that you're going to have to pay other companies the same amount next time they come to the table.
So yeah,
it's all negotiating tactics and way above our pay grade of not being paid millions of dollars to make these decisions.
Right. So we'll see.
But we will gladly accept your millions of dollars checks to help make these decisions for you.
Yeah, obviously. Let's move on to a story that's So we have a lot of stories on this podcast, especially recently, of people getting ousted from jobs, from entertainment jobs, from television shows and movies for, misconduct or just being gross. That line, though, is pretty wide. It's a big spectrum. It goes from serious allegations, including assault, and it also goes for just being an awful dude. And here's one of the stories about the latter instead of the former for once. Jeff Garland, who of course has been on ABC's long-running comedy The Goldbergs, has left the show. So the series already lost George Segal when he died earlier this year. Now Jeff Garland is departing following multiple misconduct allegations and HR investigations. According to sources, a mutual agreement was reached that Garland will not be returning to the show. His exit is effective immediately. Garland was believed to have had one more day left of shooting from the original 18-episode season 9, after his schedule had been reduced. No decision has been made yet on a potential 10th season of The Goldbergs, which remains one of ABC's strongest performing comedy series. Garland dismissed accusations of being verbally offensive by saying that he's just being silly as part of his shtick as a comedian. He did note his penchant for dropping the word vagina on set. According to a source on the show, a camera assistant made a complaint to her department head about Garland's use of the word. After the actor found out, he reportedly put his hands around her and kept saying vagina in her face over and over again. Overall, Garland's go-to jokes and a number of people on the show found offensive. We're talking about grandma's vaginas, balls, and brassieres, a coworker said. Additionally, he would not address some longtime female crew members by name, instead using nicknames that some also considered offensive. So, whereas he didn't necessarily engage in any inappropriate physical behavior, this still sucks.
Well, inappropriate physical behavior, aside from him being allowed to walk around in his underwear on set.
Oh, that's not in the story. Yeah.
That's part of his character on The Goldbergs.
It's not great. It paints a picture of him just being a nuisance and just annoying. And that's something that a lot of people tend to forget when you're on a show, is that it's like any other job. Leadership has the option. HR has the option to fire you if they deem your conduct inappropriate.
No one is
no one's immune.
No one's irreplaceable.
And so stories like this, I'm sure a lot of people's reaction is going to be like, oh, that's not that bad. But it doesn't matter because you're not HR. You're not on the set. It's up to the people as a team to determine what is inappropriate behavior. And they've deemed his behavior here inappropriate. And that's all that matters. So, yeah, I mean, if he's going to act like this. And
not only that, but there's also multiple allegations of this continuing. It seems like HR did talk to him.
Yeah. Gave him warnings and
just kept going.
So, yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be in character. It's another thing to have a shtick. And, being a comedian, you do expect a certain level of zaniness, I guess you could say.
Yes.
But there's a line. And if you're not listening to people's feedback about your behavior and taking these warnings to heart and not trying to be just will happen to you. This should not be surprising when you do finally get the boot. So hopefully he's learned something from this experience. Hopefully, if he does move to a different set, does get a different gig, hopefully he'll clean up his act a little bit.
Not trying to make excuses for his behavior, but comedians on set, I've heard through multiple podcasts, that feel that they have to, quote, always be on.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's a thing.
So they always have to be making jokes.
Yes.
Even if it's at other people's expenses. But there's that line
right, exactly.
that eventually gets crossed, though.
And that line in this case, I think in most cases, is you got to listen to your coworkers. In this case, your coworkers, whether that being the people who work in HR, whether that being people who are co-stars with you, camera people, crew people. You got to listen to people when they tell you that something is offensive or something is not cool. Because if you just ignore them, they're going to report you. It's going to be a problem. And yeah, that's where that line is. You got to listen to make sure that everybody feels comfortable on set. So yeah, it sucks to see it. And so yeah, I'm hoping he's going to learn something from this experience. But there you go.
Yep. So unsure if there's going to even be a 10th season of the Goldbergs.
Yeah.
If there is, do they just write him out because he's technically fired?
Mm-hmm.
Or do they just kind of close it at the end of 9 seasons?
And to be honest, I don't know enough about the show to know how important his character is to the show. So I don't know if it's a matter of writing him out or if that's going to be easy for them to do.
Well, I mean, it's hard because he took a bigger role now since George Sakala died.
Right.
So more of the father figure role that George Sakala was.
So it's a tricky line.
It's a tricky line now because now you're technically your 2 main father figures in the show are out of the picture.
I mean, honestly, it sounds like this could be a reason for them not to renew the show.
Yeah.
This could be them being like, well, we've written ourselves into a corner here.
Well, not just that, but the characters themselves have aged out of high school over 9 years.
That's true. So maybe with round 9 season, like you can probably be done. Yeah. It just sucks because it didn't allow the writers to write an ending, is what I'm guessing here.
Unless they already wrote an official
ending, which they have in reserve, they can just shoot.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
A couple things, real quickly. I caught up on a show you keep bugging me to watch.
Bugging
me, not one word there.
see what you're doing there. Because who eats bugs but frogs?
Yes, and who eats frogs but amphibia? Wait, no, that's not right. What? No.
So you finally caught up on Amphibia. Now, by caught up, you mean on Disney Plus?
On Disney Plus through season 1 and season 2.
Right. All right.
Oh my God, season 1 was such a slog.
But
it definitely turned around on season 2. I liked season 2 a lot better, and it sounded like you did too.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, that show really picks up in season 2. It finds what it wants to be. It wants to be this lore-heavy adventure show, and it finally gets that in season 2. And by the end of season 2, there's a huge thing that happens.
Yeah. I mean, the final episode starts with warning: you may be triggered by some scenes.
Oh, that must be added newly because I added that. I watched the season 2 on television.
Oh no,
on Disney.
Yeah.
And so they must have added that for the Disney Plus thing. That's amazing.
They added it specifically for the end of Disney
Plus. Some scary, I'm using quotes here, stuff for kids happens at the end of that episode that I'm sure, the younger kids would just be like, what just happened? This is freaky.
Yeah, I'll pull it up for you.
I believe it.
It was weird, because none of the other episodes start that way. Right. And then it just starts off as this episode has
its final scenes.
And maybe scary for some young viewers.
But don't let that scare you away. It's pretty cool. They end on such a wild note, and it really sets up season 3 to be this huge change for the show.
Yeah.
And so far, it's paid off. I talked about it a little bit in our wrap-up podcast that will be coming in a couple weeks for you guys. But season 3 continues to be and just even more exploratory, even more ambitious. They're expanding the cast. It's pretty wild. And so I'm excited for you to get to the meat of season 3 next.
Well, I'll wait for it to be on Disney Plus.
I believe the first 10 episodes are on, or at least 5. First 5 are on.
Yep.
So just wait. But glad you've enjoyed season 2.
Yep. But you watched something.
I watched a couple things. I'll just be quick about this one. On HBO Max, Summer Camp Island is back for a 5th season. Just 10 or so quick episodes. It picks up where the last season left off, where the team is getting to explore a lot of the side ancillary characters a little bit more, making it feel like more what's the term? Ensemble show. Yeah, and less about the main characters and more about them. It's cool. So they'll take like 2 or 3 part episode, like bits about like these side stories that are happening in the world. It fleshes out the world a little bit. It's still a very cozy, warm show. I still like it a lot. Yeah, that's on HBO Max. But the thing I spent most of my time this week with was not on a streaming service at all, but on YouTube. But it's long enough to count as a television show. This is a little crossover with the video game section. This was called Power On. It is a documentary series that's put out officially from Microsoft and is about Xbox, about the history of Xbox as a console company and like as an existing entity. So it basically tells you like the origins of how they built the Xbox, who the main players involved in Microsoft trying to get the project off the ground, goes into the launch of the original box, how it succeeded, how it failed, goes into the 360, some of the problems they had with the Red Ring of Death, and the successes they had launching Xbox Live and internet gameplay and getting a one like hub. Then going into the Xbox One and the initial fiasco with Always Online and the reaction to the marketing being so targeted on television. Brief talk about the Kinect being kind of an anchor that weighed the thing down to the most recent era where Phil Spencer came in to right the ship. They launched Game Pass. They bought all those studios and brings us to the current with the Xbox Series X. And they're now Xbox is not a console, it's an experience kind of thing.
So my only main question just hearing about this is, since this is a Microsoft put on doc about Microsoft, how much criticism of Microsoft is actually in
Surprisingly a lot. And that's the thing, is what makes this thing cool is that they're not afraid to pull punches. They talk about the negative stuff arguably more than they do the positive stuff. You do see a little bit of that, shiny company spin on when there is good stuff to talk about. But they really go into the negatives. They're very honest, and they let the people from Microsoft, both past and present, just be really open about talking about the experience of working on Xbox. They talk about the long hours, about launching that original thing. They talk about how awful sometimes it was to work with Bill Gates. They talk about like having pressure from from studios and from gamers during when the things were hard. The real enlightening part was during the Red Ring of Death stuff. They're super honest about we did what we could. We didn't know what was happening. Like they had figure out what was wrong and they couldn't. And so ultimately they just had to basically go to the top brass and be like, we need $1 billion to take ourselves out of this. And it's the true story. Having been there and following the industry during that whole time, it was cool to see everything I remember happening in real life and then just being totally honest about yes, this is the way it was. A really good, let's put something distracting so that way this seems lighter than it is. And what I mean by that is the movies that made us problem.
Okay.
So the worst case of this is that there's a bit in, I believe, the second episode where they're talking about how there were 2 teams within Microsoft that were basically fighting to come up with a concept for a console, for the Xbox. One of them being the DirectX team, who ended up succeeding and pitching the Xbox that they wanted, and the the Windows CE team, who had already worked on consoles because they helped Sega put a version of Windows on the Dreamcast. So these 2 teams were fighting each other within Microsoft to basically helm the project. And the way that this director chooses to metaphorically show this fight is to literally superimpose 2 Mortal Kombat ninjas fighting each other. So you go back and forth between this really stupid looking Mortal Kombat fight to the people who are actually involved telling the real story about how these meetings went. It's distracting, it's stupid, but every once in a cut away to say a quote from Elder Scrolls Oblivion that some of the character saying something in Oblivion that's stupid that somehow ties into the thing they're talking about. But honestly, the restraint gets better as the series goes on. It's a 6-part series. Each one is about 40 minutes long. And it's just that one episode that felt really heavy-handed with it. And I think that the director got better at it as it went on. But as a project as a whole, I think it's enlightening. If you ever wonder about the history of the Xbox, how it came to be, this is the perfect way to learn about why, the whys and whens and hows. And yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. It's free. It's on YouTube. And I'm sure there's other places you can get it to, maybe even from the Xbox store.
Like 2-3 hours?
So yeah, it's 6 parts, about 40 minutes each. Okay. So yeah,
it feels like this was meant for TV then.
It definitely seems like it was meant for some sort of streaming service. There's no like ad breaks.
Well, you can fit ad breaks in it.
But yeah, decent to watch on YouTube. I had a good time with it, and yeah, and that's even with prior knowledge of all the stuff happening. So yeah, if you don't know, it's pretty cool. And like you said, it is surprising that they are able to be as honest as they are for something that the company itself put on.
Okay.
So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Sounds good.
Power On is what that's called. So just search Power On Xbox on YouTube. Hopefully that doesn't turn on your Xbox.
No. That's just talking to Siri.
Yeah.
Anyways, I mean, holiday shows.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm watching, holiday shows.
I wrapped up Baking It on Peacock.
Okay.
And did pretty well. Still recommend it if you like baking shows and Andy Samberg.
Holiday baking shows are continuing through next week.
Still in the middle of Riverdale season 6 continues, and catching up on What We Do in the Shadows season 3. So more to come with those.
I don't remember if we talked about it, but It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia season 16 is up. Been watching it. They're going to Ireland. It's the first 2 episodes were weird.
Sure.
I don't know if we actually talked about it.
No, but sure.
The first episode basically is just a regurgitation of 2020 and like, hey, this is how It's Always Sunny was involved in like all these happenstances throughout the year. And then the second episode was them addressing different controversies they've had throughout the past of the show, saying, yeah, we realized this was bad. We can't do that now. We're basically shining the light on us. And then it gets into like a series antics of them going on. And so kind of good of them addressing the first 2, like right out the gate.
Yeah,
it's
neat.
Episodes.
It's neat for them to do that.
But also on the content themselves.
Yeah.
And just continues to be absurd.
Of course.
Because that's just what they're going for at this point.
Yeah, that's how that show is.
Keep being absurd and people will continue to tune in and watch.
Yeah. All righty. Anything else before we move on?
Nope. I just don't be watching a lot of football because bowl season.
Right. Football for the next 2 weeks. Yep. In the meantime, cancellations and renewals have happened. BET Plus has canceled Bigger after 2 seasons. Disney Plus, oh no, I'm sorry about this one. Cancel Diary of a Future President after 2 seasons.
They tried to do something different with that second season. And I think I even mentioned that it started to get into the diminishing returns.
Sure, yeah.
So it went faster than I thought.
Sorry, Diary of the Future President. Apple TV Plus has renewed Servant for a 4th season, but it will be its last.
Is that not pronounced Servant?
Is it? Servant.
Servant.
I don't know.
Okay.
Netflix is bringing back DP for a 2nd season. What's DP?
It's a Netflix show.
All right. I don't know anything about it.
I want to say it's their companion. Their answer to Pen 15 Club.
Okay.
Or Pen 15.
Pen 15.
It's called Pen 15.
Paramount Plus is bringing back Why Women Kill for a 3rd season. Disney Channel is bringing back Bunked for a 6th season. CBS is bringing back CSI Vegas for a 2nd season. Showtime bringing back Yellow Jackets for a 2nd season. TBS has renewed American Dad for 2 more seasons that will put it into its 19th season. Woo, it's getting up there. HBO is bringing back We're Here for a 3rd season. Not to be confused with We're Back, a dinosaur story. HBO Max has canceled Head of the Class after just 1 season. So there you go. Moving into a couple of deaths here. Manuel Santana, age 83, a Hall of Fame tennis player, Wimbledon champion back in 1966, and a 3 times French Open champion, also an Olympic champion back in 1968.
Woo! That's a long time ago.
60s tennis star.
Yep.
And then in the literary world, Anne Rice, age 80, author of the Vampire Chronicles, along with other vampire fiction, known for her vampire fiction. Mm-hmm. And and very influential in the realm of fantasy monster romance fiction.
Yep, saw that one going around Twitter a lot this past week.
All right, with that, let's flip this script and move over to the second half of the show where you'll talk about music.
And we always start music with the Billboard. We start the Billboard with the Hot 100. And it's that time of year again.
Except it's not, because somehow Adele has put a giant Christmas-themed shield against all of the Christmas songs that are trying to make their bid for number one.
Well, thanks for ruining my opening bid here.
Okay.
But yeah. 'Tis the Season, As Easy on Me by Adele is your number one song.
Somehow.
Against. Yep. Up against the juggernaut that is seasonally here for you. You know, there's going to be a point where kids growing up are only going to know Mariah Carey for Christmas songs and not for her entire catalog.
I think that's already happening, unfortunately.
Yeah. Number 2, All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. At 3, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree by Brenda Lee.
Yep.
Coming in at number 4, out of nowhere, surprising everyone. But still, Stay by the Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
But rounding out your top 5, Have a Holly Jolly Christmas. It's Burl Ives here for the stream. I don't know where we'll go.
Probably to the album chart.
But I'm here for now.
So Christmas music cannot take down Adele.
Not yet. But as mentioned, all holiday parties are currently happening, or probably should not be happening, but are happening. Yep. And as mentioned, Christmas
says someone who threw a holiday party last week.
Hey, I did it before all the mandates went out.
Technically true, like a day. Anyway,
the weekend before.
Yeah.
All right. But as for your Billboard 200, your albums chart. Again, at number 1 is 30 by Adele.
Yep.
Coming in at number 2, Red, Taylor's version by Taylor Swift.
Yep.
At number 3, Hall of Fame by Polo G. Coming in at number 4 is Christmas by Michael Bublé. And rounding out your top 5, continuing to dominate the top 5 of the Billboard 200 for the year of 2021, Sour by Olivia Rodrigo.
Yep, all these pretty much the same as last week, except for Polo G sneaking in there.
Yep. Also, you're wrong. There is no Pentatonics yet.
Yeah, I know. It's Adele, I swear. She's just screwed everything up this year. Things are not happening as they always do. It goes to show you.
Just goes to show you. All right. So, no new releases this week.
Nope. Another dead week.
Nope. So, let's get into some music news. And we start in what may be the biggest single artist music catalog deal to date.
Yeah.
Yes, even going over Michael Jackson's catalog.
Yeah.
And that is who else but the boss himself, Bruce Springsteen, as he has sold his entire recorded music and publishing catalog to Sony Music for around how best to say $500 million.
Woo! Yeah.
Yes. Sold to Sony Music for around, if not just over $500 million.
Yeah.
Topping Bob Dylan's sale of his publishing to Universal for nearly $400 million.
Yeah.
Representatives for Springsteen and Sony Music declined or did not respond to comments, but multiple industry sources do tell Variety that the deal is quote unquote done.
Yeah.
News of negotiations first arose early last month, while there has been no official comment on the actual recorded music deal, but it's supposed to include such multi-platinum albums as Born in the USA, Born to Run, and Darkness on the Edge of Town. All of this was completed, but the publishing was still in play between Universal and Sony. While the number of $350 million was the initial forecast, apparently, between Universal and Sony, the bidding war happened. $50 million.
Bidding intensifies. You see at the bottom of your screen.
Yes.
This doesn't really mean a whole lot to most people, except for two things. One, Bruce Springsteen gets a big payday, and two, also, it means that you might hear more of Bruce's songs pop up in things that maybe you didn't think they would before.
More commercials for Born to Run and Born in the USA.
Yeah, I feel like this is a kind of opening up the floodgates, which if Bruce didn't think it was a good idea, he wouldn't have done it. So I guess it's okay.
Also, Bruce is getting old, so he might want to make the payday now.
Right, exactly.
Enjoy the last 15, 20 years he's got.
You see this happen a lot with artists around this kind of time in their careers. And so, it's no surprise, really. It's not shocking. It's like just how business is done now.
Lest we forget, he also had the deal with Spotify of Bruce Springsteen and Barack Obama on a podcast.
This is his elder statesman era coming into view here. He will, I'm sure, still continue to record and still continue to play.
I mean, he had that music and movie last year that came out.
And he had that Bruce Springsteen on Broadway thing recently as well. So, he's in the victory lap stage of his career at this point, and good for him. So I'm glad to see that he's getting paid out, even though it means that a giant corporation owns his music now. You know what? Can't have it all.
Real quickly, how much was Taylor Swift supposed to be sold for?
Oh, I don't remember what that number was, but it was not this much.
No, was it like either 150 or 250?
He was somewhere around there.
And then here's 500.
Yeah. I mean, it goes to show you also he has a much bigger, deeper catalog.
Yes.
He's been around a lot longer.
Yeah.
And so that's probably all plays in that. And it was the reason for why this is so expensive.
Yeah,
he's the boss. He has some clout, and also I wouldn't be surprised if the contract that's involved here is very specific, because Bruce very notoriously is careful about how he uses his music. Mm-hmm. He tries to whenever a conservative politician tries to use his music in their ads, he tries to shoot it down immediately. So there may be limits that he's put in the contract here for how they can use his music.
No political campaign. Yeah. Anywhere.
I would not be surprised if that's part of it.
Yep.
So the high price tag is probably for a lot of reasons, not just that bidding war. We'll see.
But moving on.
Little update
as the news of Travis Scott is not over yet.
Yes.
As we reported, he was the headline at Astroworld, which led to 10 people dying after the crowd rampaged during his headlining set.
Yeah.
Well, more fallout from that, including that Travis Scott has been effectively removed from the lineup of performances for the 2022 Coachella Valley Music Festival.
So this news story downplays this a little bit. So I want to remind everybody, Travis Scott wasn't just on the lineup for Coachella.
Wasn't he the headliner?
He was a headliner for Coachella. This is important to mention. That means that Coachella now has to scramble for a replacement for him. They already did that last minute bid for Swedish House Mafia as the third opening act. Yep. Now they need to find a replacement for Travis Scott too. It's wild.
So it's Rage Against the Machine.
Yes.
Swedish House Mafia.
And then it was supposed to be Travis Scott. And now they have to find a replacement for him.
Here's where Kendrick Lamar makes his
maybe
comeback.
Yeah, it could happen.
Get the Weeknd out there.
Get the Weeknd out there. What's he doing?
Not going to the Grammys.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that real quick because this, like I said, this story maybe downplays the importance here a bit.
Yeah. Moreover, the development follows a report by KESQ in Palm Springs, which reported that the controversial rapper was dropped following the Astroworld tragedy.
Yeah.
A Change.org petition was started in the days after the tragedy, demanding his removal from Coachella's lineup. Yeah. That petition gained nearly 60,000 signatures as of
this was reported. It's a scramble, I'm sure, over there at Golden Voice. I'm sure they're trying to figure this out as fast as possible.
I'm sure they just went, hey, if this happens at our festival, what's the kind of damage we're looking at, and
I mean, yeah,
said, nope, we're not going to make that risk.
Also, it's a move that's not too dissimilar to the moves that were happening with DaBaby and Morgan Wallen, which is, this is a controversial figure. Do we want this person to be a figurehead of our festival? No, is the answer. No, they don't.
I just thought they bring Kanye back.
Oh no!
And he does a Sunday show.
Never. I hope
Donda.
I hope that doesn't happen. So it could be worse. It could be better. Who knows what Coachella will ultimately do here? But they're running out of time. This is April.
Here's what they do. They put surprise guess and just leave everyone guessing
mark until they get there.
Yes,
it's risky because one of the things that sells you tickets is the headliners.
Yeah,
so
but
I'm sure they don't want to take the risk of people being like feeling that they're buying a ticket for question mark.
I don't know. People buy tickets for Coachella. They sell out like immediately.
It's not a loot box. It's a music festival.
It's not a loot box. It's a music box.
Yeah, exactly. It's a music box. Just call it the music box.
All right.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, but.
All right. Anyways, did you listen to anything?
Nope. Nothing really came out, so there's nothing really new to talk about.
Christmas music is playing constantly in my car everywhere. So
it's that time of year.
It's that time of year.
That time of year.
At least for the next week.
Yeah.
Because come the 26th, I'm back to whatever I was listening to before. The Weeknd and Olivia Rodrigo.
Okay. Yeah. So same old.
Yep. And Midland.
Yes,
of course, Midland.
Of course. All right. Well, I'll do it.
Let's do it for music. Let's get into some video games and talk about new releases.
Except there's nothing coming out in there too.
Yes, which is why I'm currently trying to go through a back catalog of stuff, including playing the Lego DC Lego Villains.
One of the PlayStation Plus games of the week or the month.
Of the month. Yep. And then I think I have
Startup Godfall yet.
No, I'm not Godfall. No, I have either Diamond or Pearl on its way.
Okay. Right.
Which I should get on Monday.
Yeah, I'm still playing Kana. Oh, well, actually, I haven't touched Kana since I got stuck in it last week. Okay. But I am still playing those two. I'll keep kicking through.
Yep. I did end up platinuming. I know we're doing this in reverse about thoughts of what we played, but this is filling in the what we did, the upcoming stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways. I did end up platinuming True Colors.
Okay, yeah, you finished
Life is Strange. Yep, I finished it. It.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Satisfied with how that wrapped up?
Nope.
No.
Yeah. I only left this off my list because of that ending.
It really feels like, it's kind of abrupt.
I know that we already recorded.
We already recorded, so it didn't matter. But
it didn't matter. But I don't think it would have made my list either way.
I said about Kana too, so we're on the same page at least. Yeah. But I don't know. I didn't hate the ending. I like I like how big of a swing that last episode was. I was all right.
That was my problem with it. Was we're not going to sprinkle in any type of that, and then just bombard you with the last chapter of
all of it.
Here's all the backstory trauma that we didn't want to give you before because we weren't quite sure where to fit it. So here's how
I didn't read it like that. I read it as usually in these kind of games that would have been the end, and I took it as them saying like, yeah, but we're a video game. And so we can actually do like a wrap-up episode where we actually tell you what's going on under the hood here. I liked that approach. I thought it was neat and a thing that you cannot do in any other medium. I don't know. I liked it. It made sense to me.
I don't know. It was here's all the backstory that we couldn't that we purposely kept mysterious.
Yeah.
And how it's like super coincidentally wraps into what we're talking about today.
I mean, not really coincidentally. It makes sense.
Kind of. I just happen to be all end up in this town. You know, it is a very strange series of life events.
Yeah, well, that's the name of the game. I don't know what to tell you.
Anyways, I thought it was just ended up being too coincidental for me at the end there.
All right.
Plus, surviving the free fall is very questionable.
Yeah.
But video game logic, I guess.
Video games.
I don't know. Anyways, real last beat here because I guess we have some time.
Yeah.
Because one of the good things about it is at the end you can see the choices that you made versus
Right.
that I
Yes,
made.
I know. You judged me.
I judged you hard.
I'm just saying that if a company is going to give you a bunch of money and you have a use for that money, I say, hey, I'll take you. Like, fuck you still, but also I'll take your money. Like, that's how I felt.
Which is what you also did at the police station.
I know, because it made sense. Hey, I am nothing but consistent, right? Like,
Yes.
At least I'm consistent with what I believe. It's like, honestly, it's more important to me to support the people that I love instead of trying to like take down a company
monetarily support
that I'm not going. Yeah, because money, like love it or hate it, does make a difference in people's lives. It's just true. And so if I have the ability to make a difference in somebody's life by helping them monetarily, I'm going to take that, because I cannot immediately, like, because not taking that, just because, like, I don't think you should be like, oh, well, my principal says this. Yeah, but what shit is good as a principal if your friend dies, right? That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Made sense to me.
It's justice.
Yeah, but what does justice mean if you lose a loved one?
Yeah.
Nothing. That's what I'm saying. So, like, ultimately, if the whole reason for existence is to have these people who are close to you keep being close to you and thrive, that's what you want for them too, right? You love them, so you want them to thrive. You want to provide for them while you're still here.
I don't remember. Did you?
No.
You decided
to
leave?
Yeah, we hitched up and left.
Okay.
No.
I thought it was weird that was an option
to stay.
Yeah.
In fact, it's the more popular option.
Yeah, I thought it was weird.
They do a good job of selling you on it. I will have to say that last cinematic was like, it's you, it's not the town. Like, this doesn't matter. You can be you no matter where. You can chase your dreams and fit in. It's not the town that made you fit in, it's you. And so I felt like the arc made more sense to me personally. Go and chase your dreams.
I don't know. I thought it was weird because here I'm going to arrive in a town that I've been in for arguably a month, maybe, and make the decision to stay here in my spoiler apartments.
All of this is spoilers. We passed spoiler at this point.
My spoiler Dead Brothers apartment,
right
above my spoiler boss who tried to kill this bar.
Why would you stay? The whole lesson of the game is that you thought this was going to be a safe haven. No, it's the same shit.
Well, and then like dating the guy, dating my killer's son.
Yeah. Hold up. Wait a minute. You went with the dude?
Oh no, I thought that was super weird. I went with the girl.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say,
but that was an option.
It was an option. I'm just saying that's wild. Whoever chose him chose wrong. Just saying. Anyway.
Well, I know. I felt like I couldn't choose, especially after he cut the rope.
Yeah, especially
like you cut the rope. Like there's a chance you can pull him up, but as soon as you cut it, there is zero chance. It's like the football and punting. There's 100% chance they're getting the ball back.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we don't need to talk about the merits of Life is Strange True Colors right now, but
I don't know. But anyways, that was our thoughts on Life is Strange True Colors. Now let's get to the news.
Good wrap up there. All
right. Let's give just some video game bits here because that's all we got for you.
Yeah.
We may or may not ever get to playing you.
Yeah, never.
So in the meantime, here's a bunch of game bits.
Yes, game bits. The thing that most of my Twitter feed was talking about this week
was this first one.
Yes.
Final Fantasy 14
expansion for Final Fantasy 14, and with the expansion came entrance queues to get on the servers, thousands upon thousands.
This is Final Fantasy 14 online.
So the solution, I guess, I'm using quotes here, that they came up with was, well, we'll just pull it from sale, so that way new players cannot jump in right now. We'll prioritize people who have already played the game. That's what they're trying to do right now. Except there's so many people who are still trying to play the game that the queues are still stagnant. So now you're basically trying to tell people, yes, our game is so popular and so great. Don't you wish you could play it? But you can't play it right now. It's frustrating. People are frustrated that play the game. People who are interested in the game and sold by there being such a fervor for it now can't buy it. It's an absurd situation.
Absurd.
Yeah.
Speaking of absurd, Nintendo decided to showcase 19 indie games coming to the Switch, 4 of which are available immediately, including Chicory.
So yeah, I don't have the whole list here, and I couldn't track down exactly which 4 are available right away, except for one of the available right away games is indie favorite Chicory, which is the one where you play as a paintbrush wielding dog. It's gotten a lot of high praise this year on other platforms, big PC, PS4 indie game, and having it on Switch was a lot of people's wish for it. So yeah, excited to check that out at some point. I do someday plan on playing Chicory.
Yep, that's Chicory: a colorful tale.
Yeah.
Other games include the not train game. The what's the best way to describe the Agatha Christie Murder on Orient Express game?
Yeah, like a mystery game.
Okay, so Murder on the Orient Express, aka Locomotive.
That's a good name.
Yes, Loco Motive. And Behind the Frame: the finest scenery,
among others. Yeah, big long list. If you watch that, there's some good stuff coming to Switch very, very soon.
Oh, how can I forget Parkasaurus? Yes. All right. In other news, Splinter Cell remake was announced by Ubisoft,
but kind of weirdly. So they didn't make a big deal of it. There wasn't a big trailer. They announced it on their Twitter account and by saying that they were hiring for a team to make it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it seemed like kind of a weird way to treat what was once their biggest franchise. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, of course, a big hit in the Xbox and PS2 era. And yeah, it's nice to see it come back, but to very little fanfare. Very weird.
Yeah. We also had PlayStation announcing official PS5 faceplates.
Yes.
And a new color for the controllers.
Yeah, some bright purples and pinks and blues for you are your new options. Also, interesting that they announced faceplates after having a controversy last year against a company
third company for faceplates
was trying to do unofficial faceplates. They sued, tried to get shut down. And, well, apparently the reasoning was that they had their own in development that they wanted to make sure it came out.
Hey, this sounds very similar to when Nintendo shut down that ROM company because they were going to issue their own ROMs.
Yeah, because it kind of negates the backwards compatibility stuff they're doing on the Switch.
Yep.
But yeah, some of these colors look kind of neat. I'm almost tempted to get that nice bright blue one because it looks real pretty. So yeah.
I already have 2 controllers. I don't need a third one though.
Well, yeah, but the faceplate you can get separate. So yeah, faceplate I believe they said is $50, $49.99 for each of those colors. There's even a black one. So if you want, if I wanted to make that mesh with something else that will be shipping very soon, I could just get black on black and then just have 2 black towers next to each other.
Yep. Black on black on black on black.
Black on black.
Yep.
Yeah, like a deep red, bright blue, a purple, and a pink.
Yep, to the midnight black, which they I assume they should have done that at the beginning, but
hey, here we are.
Here we are paying an extra $50 for it.
So yeah, check those out soon when they are released through Sony.
I know, I'm kind of used to the white.
It's gonna look weird when I have the Series X next to it.
Yes.
By the way, Media Boat update: Series X purchased and will be shipping a couple weeks.
Sometime on its
way from Walmart. So yeah, I will be able to have feedback about how things run on the Series X pretty soon here. In the meantime,
our last 2 stories are kind of co-compatible because they deal with upcoming new way of wasting money and stuff we've talked about here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Non-fungible tokens.
The current hotness, if you know any idiots online, is NFTs. And the video game industry seems to think that they should get on board with this now, even though it's extremely unpopular with video game players.
Yep. Including Ubisoft announcing NFT plans with Quartz platform.
Yes.
Internet and developers are not happy with this.
So yeah, this was released in tandem with their existing Ghost Recon. What's the most recent Ghost Recon game called? Wild
Frontiers.
It was the one after Wildlands. Breakpoint.
Ghost
Recon Breakpoint or something Breakpoint.
Breakpoint. Yep.
Breakpoint. So that game, they're trying to saddle NFTs in relation with Breakpoint. And people aren't liking it on either side, whether it be people who work for Ubisoft or people who play Ubisoft games. It looks bad, but they want you to buy like in-game like armor sets that are rare NFTs, and through a platform that they're calling Quartz.
Wait, it's the most recon.
Sorry, Frontline. Sorry, not Breakpoint.
Well, no, Frontline I don't think is released yet, but it's upcoming.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this was for the game that's already out. So
Recon's already out.
Or Breakpoint.
Breakpoint's already out.
See, this is the problem with them naming these games so badly, is that they're impossible to remember which one is which.
Ghost, Recon.
Yeah, God. Anyway. But that was the only NFT story this week.
No, that was not the only one. As Stalker 2 developers announced NFT plans, and then literally an hour later,
hours. I don't know exactly what the timeline was, but
basically they heard the outcry and they're like, "Okay, we fucked up. We give up. No."
So this was a story in 3 parts that took place over Twitter. They announced that they were going to do some NFTs for the upcoming Stalker 2. Later, issued an apology of sorts, but a non-apology, where they basically had a big document saying, no, it's okay, our NFTs are different, and broke down like how they were going to be doing it like in a different way that was more sensitive to the environment. Then after that, finally the other shoe dropped, and they were like, actually, I guess fine, you talked us out of it, we're not going to do this anymore. So it was just, this is how wild this NFT conversation is. The boards all want these companies to do it because they think it's the future of X, Y, Z. So the companies are convinced. They put it out, and then immediately gets the bill have to go into mode. This is going to be the cycle that we're going to see probably throughout 2022 as well.
That being said, this episode will become an NFT.
No. Trust me, Media Boat Podcast will not be involved in this. Don't worry about it.
No.
So that was This Week in Video Games.
Yeah, that was This Week in Video Games. That was also our thoughts on Life is Strange.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I think that's it.
Sounds like
we kind of sped through this episode. We don't have a whole lot of thoughts.
No. As we wrap up the year, not a whole lot of new stuff coming up. But hey, I said the magic words, wrap up. And if you want to hear us wrap up the year that was, get ready.
If you want to unwrap more bonus episodes, post-Christmas.
They're coming soon. The week after Christmas, we will have a week full of our wrap-up podcast for each of our categories: movies, television, video games, and music. Not necessarily in that order. And all of that and more, plus a final wrap-up that ties a little bow on the year that was. So we'll be back very soon with all of that.
That will take place the 27th through the 31st, which does mean season 6 of the Media Boat Podcast will begin. Just like it began all those years ago on January 1st.
Yes, believe it or not, it is a new year, new season. Get ready. We're back. We never stopped, but we will be back nonetheless.
We're not taking a break. We're just doing a Wednesday show and then back to a Saturday show.
So get ready for that. In the meantime, thank you for listening to this episode of the Media Boat Podcast. We'll be back for one final regular episode next week. In the meantime, you can find us on YouTube in video form if you search Media Boat Podcast on there. You can like, subscribe, set up for notifications, and watch our archive of previously recorded shows, all on YouTube. You can listen to the audio version of our podcast on podcast services such as Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find us, search Media Boat Podcast. That's also where you'll find our wrap-up shows, as they will be exclusive to the podcast feed, audio only. You can also find us on social media channels like Twitter, where we're at Media Boat Cast, Facebook, where you can search Media Boat Podcast, find our page. You can email us questions, comments, feedback at mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com. And last but not least, we will be back next week with another episode to wrap up.
Final episode of this season 5.
To say goodbye to regular podcasting for 2021. So get ready. Have a good week. Happy holidays. Merry for Christmas for those who celebrate, and we will be back soon.
Oh, we'll wish you a Merry Christmas before then, too. All right.
Exactly.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Oh, well, that was faster. Hey!
I must use the restroom.
All right, bye. Bye.
A PR video.